Hi, everyone. Tonight we're going to be talking about the 6 foods that can trigger anxiety and what you can eat instead. And this information comes from Dr. Jockers in an article about supercharging your health. If you have any questions, please feel free to text Dr. Justine. I wanted to welcome Dr. Justine here. So she is our warrior for health and wellness for you and your family. And she believes that everyone deserves a healthcare team that focuses on prevention, optimal health, and open communication. Please help me welcome Dr. Justine.
Hello, everyone. So we've got some great information, of course, always, every single week. This is our way to give back to you, our volunteer time, so that every week you can pick up one new thing. And today's no different because anxiety is going through the roof. Every day I'm talking to somebody where their anxiety is increasing, their stress is increasing, especially since the pandemic. So we have information about healing your gut. Our Dine with Doc, you do need to register for that at the front because I have to prepay for your meal. And we have to make sure we have enough seats for everyone. But this is our way to give back. And it's talking about increasing your energy, connecting to your energy within. We have hockey stretches with Victoria coming up and how to feel full so you don't want to keep eating. So what kind of foods are the more dense foods and strategies you can use to feel more full? So today we're talking about anxiety. What is it? How does it happen? What foods make it worse? And what kind of support systems there are? So what is anxiety? It's when you have fear or worry and it makes you feel tense. And it can be normal. Anxiety, for example, before a big presentation, before a big hockey game, big championship game, that part can be normal. That raising of your heart rate, breathing a little bit fast, feeling a little on edge. But it's the challenge is when it progresses for more than 6 months and it's consistent and chronic, then it can lead to different types of anxiety disorders. Mild anxiety that comes and goes, ups and downs, can be often even beneficial because it can get us moving, get us motivated to make changes. But we always want to make sure we find the root cause so that we're addressing the root cause and it doesn't become chronic, doesn't become a disorder. So we're going to talk about the triggers, the food triggers, and the ones to avoid and things we can do to help reduce our stress. So some of the anxiety facts, this is from the US, from Dr. Jockers' article, is really, this is scary. It's affecting 1 in 4. So, I think of our family, my husband, myself, 2 kids, it's 1 in 4. This is super common. And only about 1 in 3 people who suffer from anxiety are actually getting the treatment that they need. And we'll see that the anxiety stresses is increasing. It's going rising, more than 60%. So it's affecting over 50 million people in the US. So this is a super important topic. So some of the signs, and there's a lot, look at this big list. And the challenge is it is different for everyone. There's no cookie cutter, 5 things to look for anxiety. You can have many different areas. And again, it can start small. It could be some part of stress can be good, but it's the prolonged stress that is a challenge. So we can breathe faster. We can feel tense. Our heart rate's going up, nervousness, sweaty hands, feeling like we're scared or in danger, restless, trouble with concentration, focus, pain and tension, sweating, trembling, feeling out of control, feeling weak and are extra tired, but you still can't get to sleep, feeling like you're not connected to yourself, your mind and body, worrying and lots of sort of nightmares, bad memories, and just a panic attack where we're breathing so fast that we can't get anything done. So recognizing these, some of these signs is trying to avoid troubles with digestion, whether you have constipation or diarrhea, feeling like we need constant reassurance from those around us, not being able to sleep or breathing really fast, lack of patience with, even just the Tim Hortons person or the cashier or with your children, headaches, tension, lack of focus, constant worrying, feeling like you just want to procrastinate, sit on the couch, watch TV, watch the news, watch the sports, finding you can't remember things, or you're just thinking about the same thing over and over and over again. We're overthinking what's happening there. So let's talk about the causes of anxiety and how our body responds to these. And this is when our body's like hyper responses, always on, always feeling like you're going to fight something. You got to push against something rather than being able to relax and have things come to us. So we talk about this often is trying to, swim against the river instead of swim with the current. And our goal here is to be able to help us get some answers today of why this happens and some of the foods to avoid that increase our anxiety. So this is related. The increase causes of anxiety, increase of that sympathetic response is sugar. Sugar is the enemy. When we're on sugar, you get that high, but then you have that crash. And that's what gives us that roller coaster approach. And they know from research that if we eliminate sugar or at least significantly minimize sugar, and that includes from natural sources or sources that we sometimes think is healthy, like a bagel or an English muffin for breakfast or a muffin. We don't think of that like a candy bar, for example, or a protein bar. We may not think of that as having sugar in it, or a granola bar and the sugar in that, but those still can lead to those crashes. Even yogurt can have tons and tons of sugar, can lead to these crashes. And we know that if we have increased sugar, we can have that crash and increase our signs of anxiety, especially if we suffer already. So we want to talk about a healthier diet, and that is coming up. So when we look at this gut-brain axis, and often called the GB axis or the HPA axis, we know that our brain affects our central nervous system. The messages from our brain coming to the rest of the organs in the body, and from the organs in our body back to the brain. So that's what that circle is about. Sometimes thought of as the safety pin cycle. But we know when that cycle is affected, it influences our neurotransmitters, literally affects the hormones in our body. And then that affects our digestion. And then that can affect serotonin. And serotonin has a huge effect on our moods, our behaviors, and anxiety. And eventually, as that serotonin is being affected, our gut health is being affected, the brain to gut axis is being affected, that'll affect normal behavior, memory, cognition, emotion, nociception, which is pain. So we might have pain in our back or pain between our shoulders, but it's related to that gut-brain axis, the GB axis. So when we look at the gut biome or the GB biome, we know that that microbiome or the lining of our gut can be significantly affected by our stressors and how we manage our stressors, which then causes inflammation in the gut and affects the natural bacteria in the gut, which then can affect the physical, can affect the psychological, and lead to increased anxiety. It'll affect our bowel movements, where we can often have too few or too much. So we have done talks on, and we have many talks coming up on inflammation, anti-inflammatory diet. We have many talks on leaky gut and the gut biome. So this is a very, very important topic to address stress, to address even if you have things like Crohn's or celiac. If we take care of our stressors in our mind and take care of our nutrition, we are able to manage those severe conditions so much better. And many of us just have the wrong perceptions. I knew I grew up with cereal, for example, or a bagel for breakfast, and that was okay. Literally starting our morning with sugar instead of starting with a healthy response. So trying to look at ways to make that healthier and make healthier swaps. So what is glutamate and GABA neurotransmitters? So that glutamate gets us excited, and that can be a good thing. That's it before sport, before a big presentation, before an exciting day. Some of that is good, but we also need to balance that with GABA neurotransmitter, which helps us rest and digest. And the thing is get that balance, like you see the teeter-totter there, we need the balance of the GABA and the glutamate. And if we don't have enough glutamate, that's when our anxiety increases. We don't get control over it, and we're not getting it regulated. Again, ups and downs and small waves is normal, and a massive increase of glutamate is going to definitely affect our serotonin response and increase our levels of anxiety. So one of the things that we challenge here is that 90% of our response is related to that GABA and to that glutamate response. So what foods, we're getting into here, what foods are going to increase your anxiety? So let's start with number one, sugar and processed foods. And this is scary because sugar is in everything. So it's a matter of looking at the grams, and our goal, just even in a core diet, not our advanced plan with max living, which we have numerous talks on here, is getting, for men, women, our goal is at least under 10 grams a day. So this happens pretty quick, and many things, like even if you were just to have an iced tea, for example, 21 grams. A yogurt can have 21 to 27 grams just in that small yogurt. So be very, very cautious to start to read just how many grams of sugar is in that. Sugar's hidden in crackers, breads. So we want to be cautious of the amount of sugar and try to get that full day response under 10. And this is so difficult if you go out to eat, because it's easy for bread to respond to the table, sauces to have sugars, and of course, easy salad dressings to have sugars, not just the one that it seems obvious, like ordering an ice cream or ordering a dessert. The next thing is those fast foods. So many, whether it's burgers, especially hot dogs, fast foods of all different types have tons and tons of sugar in it and preservatives that will increase your anxiety. So really, that's when we say food by God or food by nature, food that grows on the ground, doesn't come in a can, doesn't come in a box, and doesn't come in a drive-through, is much healthier for you. And that does require food prep. Even my kids, food prep every 2 to 3 days, preparing for the next 2 to 3 days makes a huge difference. And when under stress, that's when you can make soups ahead, or you can use crock pots so that you can prepare in advance. A lot of times we'll prepare multiple meals and put them in baggies, put them in the freezer for the crock pot. So all you have to do is empty the Ziploc, throw in the crock pot, and that meal is ready for you when you get home. Looking careful at gluten intolerances. Many times people think of a gluten allergy or celiac or Crohn's, but don't realize that many times intolerances can affect our digestion, affect our gut lining, and just grains that you even think that are gluten-free sometimes can have challenges. So really, take an opportunity to do a 2-week cleanse. Don't have any gluten for 2 weeks. Slowly add it in, and that's how you're going to see how your body responds. But monitoring any intolerances can be done with some of the natural allergists, biofeedback, SKIO techniques, talking to your naturopath in order to understand how to do elimination diets. Next one is artificial flavoring, aspartame, NutraSweet, huge no-nos, MSG, huge no-nos. They affect the inflammatory response and are definitely going to affect your anxiety. So again, these are hidden in all of these processed packaged foods. So the goal is, again, an apple that's washed, of course, would be that much better than, say, a protein bar or a granola bar or yogurt. So many of those things have artificial sweeteners, and any types of pops, any types of Gatorades, all of those types of processed drinks are also things to avoid. Avoiding any types of things like that have fake sugars, like diet pop, diet yogurt. Those are the ones we want to avoid as well. Vegetable oils, they sound healthy, but it's just acid for your stomach, increasing your inflammation. So it has very, very high omega-6s. So you want to increase your omega-3s. So avoid those peanut oils, cottonseed oils, soybean oils, canola oils, corn oils. This is in so many things like breads, pastries, crackers, and salad dressing. So this is where making your own salad dressing when you can is so important. Meat products, make sure that they're grass-fed. You are what you ate. And many of the meats have extra hormones, antibiotics, corn-fed to make the animals fat faster, to make more money, and that increases your inflammation. So we want grass-fed, not grain-fed, wild meats, free-range chicken, meaning the chicken or eggs, the animal is allowed to roam around and is not cooped up and is eating healthy grasses. Look at that caffeine. One coffee a day in the morning, or tea, high caffeinated tea in the morning is not the problem. I am a tea drinker, but drink it weak. But looking at that, if you are suffering from anxiety, increased amounts of caffeine can cause those jitters, increase those feelings, or mimic feelings of anxiety. Energy drinks, artificials to increase for sport performance also can aggravate that. Artificial sweeteners can all increase that inflammatory response and increase anxiety. Some of the Band-Aid solutions we'll get to in a moment, but remember that inflammation affecting that gut biome, the microbiome of your stomach, will increase and affect your serotonin and affect the intensity and the frequency of anxiety. So looking for foods, again, that don't come in a can, don't come in a bag, and don't come in a box is probably the easiest thing. That way you don't have to limit calories, but you're looking for high quality, high dense foods. This can often be affected, for example, that people look at the paleo diet and the keto diet. They can all be helpful for anxiety, and we have numerous talks on both of those. Some of the Band-Aid solutions, sometimes people look towards conventional treatments, medications to affect the gut biome to limit anxiety, but they can have side effects. And again, those are just covering up the symptoms, but not looking at the root cause. So even if you are on any type of conventional medications, you can still work on your nutrition and getting a better control of that brain-gut axis and your microbiome. And this is definitely helped with your naturopath. So certainly recommend doing a meet and greet, a complimentary consultation with your naturopath for those healthy foods to avoid and the foods to add. Now, looking at the source, we want to get to the root cause of the anxiety. Just like a chiropractor looks at the nervous system and looks for areas of subluxation, it is important to affect the nutrition, like garbage in, garbage out. So we want to make sure we always get to the root cause. So when we look at that diet, the anti-inflammatory diet is super important. We want to add the deep leafy greens, the grass-fed foods, natural herbs and spices like rosemary, thyme, growing your own peppermint. Margaret at our office brought some in. You can make water peppermint cucumbers or peppermint lemon and water to make it healthier for you. Add ginger, turmeric. Looking at low glycemic foods, so avoiding things like bananas on a regular basis. Thinking of some of the healthy but high sugar fruits like mangoes as a dessert and irregular versus a daily area. So looking towards adding more berries, more green apples that are low glycemic fruits rather than the high sugar fruits. Adding those healthy fats like avocados, nuts, and seeds. Healthy wild fish. Looking towards clean proteins, that means grass-fed, free-range, free-run. And and wild, and adding those fermented vegetables, adding garlic, adding onions, adding chives, adding coconut oil, coconut butter, extra virgin olive oil. This is all adding healthy fats to make you feel full, help line that gut. And all of these foods for the anti-inflammatory diet, we do have numerous talks on that, numerous talks coming up again, and they are going to help with anxiety. Food sensitivities, the big one, like I said before, is sugar, gluten, corn, and I want to add dairy and alcohol. So this is when you want to talk to your naturopath to look at some elimination diets to see, for example, no dairy for 2 weeks, slowly add it in and see how your body responds to see if you do have these full food sensitivities. You can have these tested with your naturopath or with a biofeedback testing. And then you can also have biofeedback or SCIO tests done to improve those insensitivities. I know it's made a big difference for me. As a child, I barely could eat, couldn't eat, milk or gluten. I was so allergic to so many things. And by doing some of this biofeedback, I can get back some of those areas in my diet. Big one that I really appreciate is being able to eat eggs again. So definitely look at some of those techniques and talk to your naturopath and look to try and reduce some of these triggering areas. We want to eat in a calm state. That's probably really difficult for me. I'm always go, go, go. So to remember to chew, that's an easy one. Just putting the fork down, spoon down to enjoy each mouthful. You can practice mindfulness with our naturopath, also with our massage therapist. Edwin does a lot of work on emotional freedom technique, emotional connection, and how that affects our muscles, our joints, our discs. So he's a registered massage therapist, Edwin, and talks about and does massage techniques to relate to these emotions that can affect anxiety and help us get into that more calm state. Looking at the anti-inflammatory foods and then talking about different supplements like probiotics in order to help heal that gut. And that our naturopath would be fabulous for you to do a consultation and find out which supplements are best for you, how to get the best quality supplements so you're not throwing money down the toilet, and then you're just not having too many supplements. And that's a challenge as well, knowing when to get off of them, how to cycle them. And a naturopath will help you with that in order to protect your gut health, in order to help with that serotonin response and help with anxiety. Reducing stress, anxiety is a natural response to stress. So helping ways to help with stress that are, free, a prayer, meditation, gratitude time, journaling, just, 10, 15 minutes to write down your thoughts or talk your thoughts into your phone. We have numerous talks about breathing, vagal tone response, so that 4-7-8 breathing, 10-10, 15-15 breathing, or 4x4 breathing. Look to those talks because the breathing exercises make a big difference. They are free online, but you can also do a consultation with your chiropractor or your naturopath, your osteopath, and ask more about some of these breathing techniques. Getting opportunity in nature, and just a time to stop and enjoy the view, enjoy the trees, enjoy the birds, enjoy the flowers. Get an opportunity to ground, which means walking barefoot on the ground, and quality time with your loved ones. The hug means a huge difference. Touch makes a huge difference. So making sure we get that time to reduce stress. Of course, chiropractic adjustments are involving touch. They can help reduce that tension, reduce that anxiety, improve that brain-gut connection, and improve your sleep. So talk to your chiropractor, do a chiropractic examination to see if you do have areas of subluxation interfering with your brain-gut reaction, your brain responses to stress. Improving your sleep. We've done numerous talks on sleep as well. So making sure you have that nighttime routine. Before I go to bed, prep my sports clothes for the next day, my workout clothes, prep my clothes for work the night before. Trying to avoid any type of light, TV, noise right before bed, getting our mind quiet before bed. Take a look at how old your bed is. Have you flipped it in a while? Making sure you don't have synthetic sheets, so that you have high quality sheets that breathe. So double check your sleeping environment and your relaxation activities the 3 hours before bed, so that the quality of sleep makes a huge difference. And we have numerous talks on that, and it is something that naturopaths and chiropractors can help you with. Now, as we deal with supplementation to help with anxiety, definitely recommend talking to a naturopath, because if you have too much of the wrong thing, your anxiety can go up. For example, magnesium is super helpful for relaxing your muscles, but there's so many different types of magnesium that you want to make sure you have the right one. You know how much. If you have too much, for example, you could have diarrhea. So be very, very careful. It will affect your gut biome. It will affect the contraction, relaxation of those smooth muscles. It can improve your sleep, can improve your digestion, can improve magnesium, can improve gut health, but you have to make sure you're getting the right ones, and preferably always from a food sources, and then second, supplementation. Looking at your GABA, remember that rest and digest supplement, but again, highly recommend that you get the right amounts, the right ones for you, high quality, so that you're using the right supplements to improve your mood and improve your nervous system. Of course, with your lifestyle, we've got to move. And before we get moving, we need proper alignment. So that's why I recommend a chiropractor spinal checkup. Do those subluxation, computerized nerve scans, get your posture, range of motion checked, and then no matter what, get moving. So the minimum standard is 20 to 30 minutes, 5 to 7 days a week. That's just to maintain. Sometimes people say, well, I walk 3 days a week, 30 minutes. Then you're going backwards. That's not enough. Minimum, getting our body moving 20 to 30 minutes every single day as the best. 5 days a week is the minimum. And then we need to get our heart rate up. And that would be at least 3 times a week, getting our body slightly out of breath. So we're just about to talk, but we're slightly out of breath. Get our heart moving. Increase our resisted exercises. That's to improve your strength and your muscles. We need to do that 2 to 3 times a week. And then adding some of the more gentle exercises like Pilates and yoga. And so much is free. I do recommend personal trainers. I think they're awesome, but they're not affordable for everybody. So there's so much for free on YouTube. Look up Yoga with Adrienne. Look up some of the videos for 10-minute strength training with body weight, strength training with bands, strength training with even just soup cans. We also have a lot of this on our website for free for you as well. So I do recommend getting the different types of exercises, the slow sustained walk, the increased heart rate, the mindfulness with movement, breathing exercises, and the strength training. And that's going to help your circulation. That's going to help your digestion. That's going to help oxygen to your tissues, help lymphatic drainage, help reduce stress and tension, reduce your anxiety, improve your mental clarity, your memory. We need to move. We're designed to move and not sit. And this is so important as we get older. You see kids that move all the time, and parents are upset that they're moving, and yet that's so healthy for them. We are not meant to sit 8 hours a day. So the more you move, the more you can stand and work, the better it is for you. So as we make sure, there are sometimes when things do get out of hand, make sure you realize there's many different sources for help. Here's some different examples for adults, for kids, for teens. And it's a healthy response. It's a strong response to reach out for help. And of course, as a chiropractor or naturopath, we do help with stress and anxiety. Our new massage therapist, Edwin, talks about how emotions can be trapped in our muscles. But when things get too tough, please reach out for more help and make sure you get the services you need. And many of these are free. So in summary, anxiety at up and down, lower levels, that it comes and goes, that can be normal. But if it is prolonged, especially over 6 months, that can be causing severe damage. And anxiety can be helped with taking care of your gut lining, dealing with inflammation. There is a huge link between your gut health and so your physical response and your psychological response. Just like if you have stress, that can also affect the physical response. You can get tense. You can affect, feel have an upset stomach because you're too stressed. Same thing goes if your stomach's a problem, it can affect the brain. So that's why we have that cycle of the brain-gut axis. And important to look at the nervous system, to see your chiropractor, see your osteopath, see your naturopath, and make sure you have a healthcare team helping you before this gets out of hand is the best. Preparation, prevention is the key to health. Get to the root cause rather than just masking the symptoms or getting a Band-Aid approach. Make sure we're addressing the root cause. So upcoming talks, I hope this helped you. Share it with others because anxiety is going through the roof. There's just so much more of it happening today. The great news is there's more awareness. We're more open about our feelings. I think that is good. But take care of that gut health. So that's why you see coming up, we have a talk with leaky gut with our naturopath, Dr. Udani. We have the Dine with Doc, which you do need to sign up at the office to reserve a seat for you and a friend. It is free for those newcomers. We want to help you. We want you to learn about how to be healthier. So this will be connecting to your energy. We have hockey stretches with Victoria. And of course, how do we feel full so we don't overeat? That's coming up. So every week we want you to learn something new. So tune in with us on a weekly basis and share this with others. We connect with us on Facebook, YouTube. Please do a website check. Do a YouTube check of so many different topics. Please write a review. Our goal, this is our mission, is to serve the community, to give back. This is my volunteer time. We care about our community, share this worldwide, and together we can make a difference.